Good morning, everyone. This is Louis from Blue Gypsy Homestead. Thank you once again for joining me in this part 2 of my series of how I plan my garden. Important to tell you, this is how I do things. This is not necessarily the right way, the wrong way, or anything like that. But it is how I do things. So in case you're looking for ideas, just consider this one of those ideas. Anyway, so what I did was I basically cut out some templates from poster board, and I took a piece of this dry erase foam board, first time I've ever found that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a permanent marker, permanent Sharpie, to draw boxes that correspond to the templates that I have. So I have two in-ground templates, which are roughly 35 by 35. And then I have the two raised beds templates, but I'm actually going to make three because I am going to plant a third raised bed, because the more I think about it, the more I'm going to need one. Anyway, so what I've done is I've quickly marked out dots, as you can see, which correspond to the corners of the templates, more or less. It was just so I could position everything. And what I'm going to do now is, actually, I'm going to take my T-square and I'm going to, handiest tool I ever bought, I'm going to mark out a permanent marker. Try to line this up properly. Okay. That's good. Go. So I'm going to mark out with the permanent marker where these boxes go. Those boxes serve as my starting point when I'm planting my planting. So there's 1, 2, and 3. As you can guess, this is not an exact science. And then, what I will do the joys of filmmaking. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw lines that correspond to the other dots that I've made. Since I'm not able to square up, mostly because of my own setup, I'm going to make sure, so I've got 1 3/4 here. That's too much, so I need to just up that a little bit. Up. Okay, lining up along the top. That should be right. Though visually it doesn't look it right now. Okay. Now you might be asking, why is this important that I get this so precise? The truth is, it isn't. It isn't. And the reason for that is that this is all a guess anyways. So, perfect. Or as perfect as it gets. And the primary goal is to create an area, a template, if you will, that I can use every year plan gardens. I say that because, truth be told, I might change my mind about where I put things. It has happened. So with the dry erase board, this is something new for me. With this dry erase board, I'll be able to go in here and mark up using a dry erase pen. I can mark up whatever I want to use, and then I will be able to erase it if I need to, change it if I want to. It gives you a lot more flexibility. Now, this is the first time, as I said, first time I've seen this product, so very happy to have found it at, of all places, the dollar store. And I think I paid a grand total of $4 for this sheet and about 50 cents for the poster board I used. Anyway, so let me go ahead, draw up the rest of this. And the only reason I'm really bothering to check whether it's straight or not is that I want to make sure that I've got as much space as I need. Say, for example, these gardens that I'm in the process of drawing out now, I've got them measured at 35 centimeters, where a centimeter is, well, the scale of it would be 1 centimeter equals 1 foot. So my gardens are typically going to be and they're divided into 4-foot rows. So within each 4-foot row, I would put in 3 rows of plants. 4-foot rows. Why 4-foot rows? Well, 4-foot rows are because I bought woven lamb fabric, and it happens to be 4 feet wide. Now, I since purchased 6-foot wide, which still works, but the 4-foot works well. You don't plant in all 4, in every line. You need to leave space between the rows, between the 4-foot rows, as pathways. So that's what I'm planning on doing. The other reason I use 4-foot rows is because I will probably convert one of these 2 square gardens into rows of raised gardens. And the reason for that is they're easier to maintain than this. For example, I'll have to till, I probably will end up tilling these 2 this spring, because I have a lot of leaves that I collected that I want to put into the garden as compost. Now, I'm going to see about that. I may or may not do that. We'll see. But what I'll definitely need to do is chop them up. I will either do that using my tractor lawnmower, or I will head out and pick up a leaf chopper, which is basically a barrel with a motor and a blade in it, and that will serve to chop up the leaves, and then I can mix that into the holes. That will provide a nice boost of nitrogen for the plants. Now let's get up here. Excuse my head. Very low tech around here. The reason I find that works for me is because, having been in the IT business for as long as I have, I learned the simpler you keep things, the less likely they are to break. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep it simple. The KISS principle, as some call it. Anyway, it reduces the chance that you mess up something. Mind you, what's the worst that can happen? You destroy this $4 piece of foam board, and you can buy another one. And I'm using a permanent marker, as I said, with the hopes. I'm not exactly holding my breath at this point, because I'm seeing I will drill a hole inside the burned holes, and I'll go down about 6 inches. Then what I'll do is I'll take some of the mushroom compost that I still have quite a bit. I mix that with some of the leaves that I gathered from my neighbors, chop it all up into one, or better yet, make a tea of it, which just means you put it into a barrel of water and you wait. And then I will pour that sludge, if you will, into each hole. So that'll fertilize the hole. The reason I go 6 inches down is because that's the minimum amount that's going to be required for the roots to go. So the plants have 6 inches deep that they can go unimpeded, which is probably plenty of time for them to establish themselves. So once they're established, then they have the strength to go drilling around. Now I have, my land is sandy loam, and that means the first foot of the properties where the gardens are is basically topsoil. This used to be an orchard in the 1850s, and I believe it used to be 1,000 acres. Now I have 62 of those acres, and I believe I'm the 4th owner of this property. And so it was very fertile. It was never used for anything after the orchard. A lot of the trees were cut down or just died out, and it went fallow. It went fallow meaning that it was just grass. And with the exception of one time when I was trying to grow switchgrass to turn into pellets for my pellet stove, it hasn't been sprayed in 30 years, except for that one time, and that was about 10 years ago. I will not spray my grass again. I've rented out about 40 acres, and the condition of the rental was that it cannot be sprayed. My neighbors don't spray their lawns either, don't spray their fields rather. I don't know what they do with their lawns. But out here we really don't have lawns. To give you an idea, my neighbors' houses are about 1 kilometer away from me, 5/8 of a mile. So it's very quiet here. In any case, so there should be no chemicals in the ground. I have a very high water table. I have beautiful water, and my well is about 90 feet deep. So one of the other things I need to work out is watering these. I can water these 5 areas very easily. I have a 2-inch fire hose that can shoot water, I think, about 100 feet, full tilt. So I mean, I can water all of this from one position in about 15 minutes. Just literally sweeping across with the fire hose. Anyway, I'm babbling, so I'm going to cut it short now. I know, too late. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to start. And in part 3, I will show you more or less how I start seeds. Again, not necessarily the right way, but definitely the way I do it. And hopefully that'll help you. In any case, my name's Louis. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please, I hope you could do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. It'll help me out. It'll help me out a lot. I'm trying to grow the channel. And even better, if you could share it with your friends. That will also help me get into that ever-famous YouTube algorithm. Nonetheless, thank you very much. Wish you a good day. Happy farming.